time for this.
There's a real feeling that this is the best versus the best.
White's lost control. White has lost control completely.
How many more do you want?
Lift off for energy!
This is The Voice.
Yes! Time for The Voice, our weekly feature, where we join live from New York by the voice of boxing, Adam Smith, to take a look at the week's biggest stories, I should say. Smudger, good to see you. Is that Times Square in the background?
It is a very hot, humid and busy Times Square. A lot of sport happening over here. I know it's Wimbledon back there. We've got so much here with the boxing over the weekend, the Club World Cup final as well. So, New York, very much the place to be.
Right, listen, we've got loads to talk to you about. Thanks so much, as always, for coming on. Let's start off by looking ahead to a fight which takes place in New York this weekend, which is, of course, why you're there. Katie Taylor against Amanda Serrano. They square off for a third time. For those who don't know, just tell us a bit more about this fight. How big is this fight?
It's a huge fight. There was a massive press conference at Madison Square Garden Theatre last night. And Nakisa and Jake Paul from MVP were saying this is a trilogy that's going to go down in history. And I think they're right. We've had, obviously, Ali Frazier's, which started in the Garden, and the Morales Barreras, the Gatti Wars, in recent times, of course, the likes of Fury and Wilder. But this is a trilogy of the women, and it's the best in the world. The multi-weight champion Amanda Serrano from here, from Puerto Rico and New York, and Katie Taylor, who, in my opinion, is the greatest female, if not one of the greatest fighters of all time, to lace them up. The Jewel from Ireland, and they've had two astonishing fights already. One in New York, one on the support to the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight card in Netflix. It stole the show that night, and Netflix are going again. And not only is it Katie and Amanda chopping the bill, but it's a host of the best women in the world on it, like Savannah Marshall, Ellie Scottney, Chantel Cameron. It's absolutely brilliant. Alicia Baumgardner as well. It's a fantastic night for women. It's a fantastic night for New York. And Katie and Amanda, it's 2-0 to Katie, but it's controversially 2-0. And they've given us 20 rounds of the most thrilling action in recent times. And no doubt they will just start off where they left off. It's a real personal fight too.
Yes, Mudge, I currently have it 1-1. And you're right, it was controversial, the first two fights. Why do you think it was so controversial? And how do you think Katie Taylor got the decision in the end?
I think it was razor thin both times because they're both as good as each other in many ways. I mean, Katie, more of a standout as an amateur, first lacing them up at the age of 10, winning so many worlds, so many Europeans, that Olympic gold in London, of course. But Amanda Serrano, brilliant as well. And she's started off at the lighter weight, so she's come up through, which is all credit to her for taking on Katie in the first place. I thought Katie won the first fight. I was actually in Vegas that night. I wasn't in the Garden. We were calling the Shakur Stevenson fight over in Vegas, who's actually fighting on Saturday here. But Katie, that first fight was incredible, blew the roof off the Garden. The second fight I thought was even better, but I did think Amanda nicked the second fight. So for me, like you, Darren, you know your stuff. It's one apiece. I think this is the rubber. But Katie's adamant that she won both. She's adamant that it's 2-0. That's what the judges said. And she's going for this because she loves challenges. And obviously she's getting a huge payday, which is absolutely right. Finally, the women are getting what they deserve. And then there's a talk potentially of a Chantel Cameron trilogy, maybe even in Croke Park to finish Katie's career. But first things first, Friday night here, it's Taylor Serrano 3.
Smart, before we move on, Times Square, I'm pretty sure it was Ryan Garcia, but if I'm wrong, you'll correct me. There was a fight recently where they closed Times Square down. Did you go to that? I just wonder what it was. It must have been quite eerie if you did. Were you there for that one?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't actually there for that one, but it was here right behind me.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. Teofimo Lopez, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney. Wasn't the greatest fight night. The action didn't live up to it, but the iconic location here. And then the Ring Magazine are going to the Louis Armstrong Center, the tennis center, where the US Open's going to be in a few weeks on Saturday night. That's Hamzah Sheeraz and Edgar Berlanga. Huge fight card there. So it's a double header in New York this weekend. But yeah, they're trying the Ring to go to these venues. They're talking about possibly Alcatraz and others. But yes, Times Square, they shut it down, and visually it looked amazing. And it's fantastic what's happening in boxing now. All of these big moves.
Yeah, listen, we'll stay with the fight you just touched on ever so briefly. Hamzah Sheeraz also fights this weekend in New York. What sort of fight can we expect from this one?
I think it's a really good fight, and it's a really important fight for Hamza. He's obviously a darling of Turkey Usyk. He's been an ambassador for Riyadh season, but he wasn't good last time against Carlos Adames at middleweight. I thought he lost that fight out in Riyadh. He's rebuilt. He's changed his trainer. He's gone to Andy Lee, who's one of the hottest ornament in the business, of course, guiding Joe Parker and Ben Whittaker these days as well. So that'll be interesting to see how he changes Hamza. He's up in weight at super middleweight, and he's in with this Carlos Berlanga, who's a real hard nut. He's a mad character from New York. He's got the bit between his teeth. He's only ever lost to Canelo, so he's a really dangerous fighter to take on. It's a cracking top of the bill. Alongside that, Shakur Stevenson and William Zabeda, both unbeaten. So it's a fabulous match. And Alberto Puello as well, the WBC super lightweight champion, is on the card. And Dalton Smith will be over watching that because he's mandatory for that title. So that's a sizzler on Saturday night after the females in the Garden on Friday.
I should point out, just before Benny takes over, Hamzah Sheeraz should be on our show at some stage today as well. So boxing fans, stick around for that.
If Hamza was to beat, as you said, Berlanga, how far do you think he's off a real step up and maybe even a world title shot? I know they really like him. I mean, he's got dynamite in both hands as well. How good is he, and how far do you think he is off a world title shot?
I think he's very good, Darren, and I was disappointed with his performance against Carlos Adames. I thought he was going to become a world champion that night. He said he injured his hand early. I thought he was a little negative with his tactics, and maybe he just needed the experience. It was a step up for him, but he's had that now. And now all eyes are on him. I think if he puts in a good performance against Balango, and I think he'll listen to Andy, and I think he'll box this time, and I think he'll box aggressively. I think he'll look good on Saturday night. And if he does look good, then the world's his oyster. I mean, he's 26, but I think they can fast track him into some really, really big fights. So, yeah. The most important thing is Turkey Usyk, His Excellency, really likes Hamzah Sheeraz, and you can't not like him. He's a wonderful guy outside of the ring and is exciting in it. But he needs to perform at this level. Saturday night is a crucial night for him.
Talking of crucial nights, the following weekend at Wembley sees Oleksandr Usyk take on Daniel Dubois. Fight you can hear live on talkSPORT. I mean, everyone who's a boxing fan on the planet must be so excited. I know I am. I know Benny is as well. You're going to be ringside as well. Usually when we get to this close to a big fight, I sort of have my mind set on who's going to win it. I just don't know with this one. If Daniel Dubois gets in early, I think he could take him out. But then all of a sudden you start talking about Oleksandr Usyk. Some people talk about how great he's compared to some of the best we've ever seen at heavyweight. And all of a sudden, you know, that thought process sounds a little bit stupid. Where are you set on this one, Adam?
Well, that's the intrigue, isn't it? First you have heavyweight boxing, and then of Daniel Dubois, who was written off when he lost to Joe Joyce again with Usyk a couple of years ago. But the momentum he's had is phenomenal. The Jarrell Miller win, the Hrgovic win, and of course, the big one, demolishing Anthony Joshua in front of 96,000 at Wembley. And he's back there at the National Stadium next week. He'll never have a better chance of beating Oleksandr Usyk, but no professional is yet to do that. That is the problem. And Usyk is so good in rematches. I've not seen any decline in Oleksandr. I thought he got better and better in the Fury second fight. So I expect Usyk to find a way, but Dubois can hurt him. Maybe he can hurt him to the body. And look, if he believes like he did against Joshua and he's tunnel visioned and he believes he won't be denied on July the 19th, you never know. If he wins, it's one of the great wins in British fight history. But if he loses, you can understand it's Oleksandr Usyk against him. So in a way, there's nothing to lose for Dubois. He's got to go for it. But I understand where you are, Spencer and Simon. I know fancy Dubois heavily. They think it's timing, which is so important in boxing. But it is about levels as well. And I wonder if Usyk just is that elite fighter of this generation. So we'll see. Can't wait for it.
We kind of, just quickly before I let you go, me and Benny were having a chat, I think it was last week, about Oleksandr Usyk. And I was saying that a lot of people in boxing, like yourself, who know, well, everything, they class Oleksandr Usyk as one of the greatest ever at heavyweight. And then me and Benny were rattling off names from like Joe Louis to Lennox Lewis to Mike Tyson to Evander Holyfield. And all of a sudden, when you rattle off the list, he doesn't really come into the top 5 in our world. How highly, it's such a difficult question, but when you look back at all the great heavyweight boxers...
Ali.
Oh, I forgot Muhammad Ali. God dear. In your mind, where is Oleksandr Usyk?
You ask me these tricky questions like my Mount Rushmore. You're very good, Andy. And listen, we could rattle on for hours about this. It's a huge debate. Who would fight who? Would Ali beat Fury? Would Fury beat Mike Tyson in his prime? All those sort of things. Where would AJ be? For me, Lennox Lewis is our greatest heavyweight from Britain. Tyson Fury and AJ have had a great time this generation. But Oleksandr Usyk, what he's done, being a sort of natural light heavyweight, conquering the cruiserweight world and then conquering the heavyweight world, beating everyone of his era, he can't do any more. So how would he do against the others? It's always going to be tricky and subjective. But in my mind, you've got to put Oleksandr Usyk in the top 5-10 fighters in history, full stop. Wow. So whether it's at heavyweight or cruiserweight or just pound for pound list, Oleksandr Usyk, if he beats Dubois and say he goes on to retire undefeated, has got to be seen as one of the greatest fighters, top 10 ever.
Wow.
Okay. Listen, talking of top 10, you're top one, Smarter for Boxing. Thanks so much for your time. Have a wonderful week. Weekend. We're coming to the end of the week, but thanks so much for your time. We'll see you in a bit.
Cheers, Marge.
See you next Tuesday. Bye now.
Thanks, man.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.